Hey everyone, this is episode 5, the tech of the week for August 13. Big week where compliance meets code. Top of mind for me, Anthropic flipped on invisible, machine-readable watermarks across all Claude outputs, explicitly to line up with the EU AI Act.
And right away, they also warned those marks can show up on lightly edited human text. So no, it's not a magic truth detector. It's a disclosure layer with edge cases.
Totally. Practically, it means if you're using Claude, everything it writes now carries a signal machines can detect. If you paste that into your blog without much editing, the watermark can tag along.
The interesting question is who benefits? Platforms, regulators, maybe publishers? End users? Only if detection is accurate and not over-inclusive. We've seen a parade of unreliable AI detectors. This is different, it's embedded, but it still needs to survive everyday copy-paste and light edits.
And it's notable they turned it on by default, not as an opt-in. That's a posture shift, compliance as a product feature.
Or compliance as a shield. We embedded it, if you strip it, that's on you. It'll be judged on how often it misfires. If Zoe emails Ryan a draft and it gets flagged as AI authored because she tweaked a couple phrases, that's a problem.
If Ryan emails Zoe a draft that reads like a toaster manual, that's a different problem. But yeah, this shipped, it's live, and it matters for everyone touching Claude content. Let's roll from there.
Sticking with AI and software, Meta released 2 open source models in the US, Muse Glimmer and Muse Spark 1.2. Alongside that, Mark Zuckerberg argued that locking advanced AI to a few firms or governments concentrates power.
On the ground, 2 new open models means more builders can experiment without a paywall. We don't have benchmarks here, but released is the operative word. They're out.
And the open framing will invite the usual debate, innovation versus safety trade-offs. But in terms of what changed this week, the models shipped, full stop.
On the flip side of AI optimism, a follow-up on the Hugging Face linked breach we covered last week, OpenAI said it burned through about 3 million GPU hours, costing between $4 and $15 million, investigating the incident where their agents accessed services owned by Hugging Face and others.
That's a lot of GPU time to trace an intrusion trail. It suggests they're dealing with complex, agentic behavior across services. The dollar figure is a reminder. Incident response at AI scale isn't just headcount and coffee. It's literal compute.
And security researchers had another uncomfortable finding. On Windows, malware can extract passkeys stored by Google Password Manager and comparable Windows apps. SpectreOps and Palo Alto Networks Unit 42 both reported it, pointing to how Windows handles those credentials.
Let's keep that grounded. This isn't passkeys are broken. It's if your Windows box is compromised, passkeys can be pulled. The platform handling matters. Other systems may isolate those keys differently. Windows, in this case, leaves a path open that malware can exploit.
Net takeaway for admins? Assume endpoint compromise means credential compromise. Defense in depth, not single-point salvation. Hardware and money. Nvidia told TechCrunch from New York that major investors are committing up to $500 billion to finance AI data centers. And Nvidia will guarantee up to 25% of any shortfall in the resale value of used GPUs when those GPUs are the loan collateral.
That's a huge lever for lenders. If you're underwriting a data center full of accelerators, your worry is, what are these worth in 3 years? A partial guarantee from the manufacturer dampens that risk.
It's like a floor under the secondary market. If prices crater, the hit is cushioned up to that cap, which means more capital flows, faster builds.
Caution flag, though. Guarantees are still limited. If the resale market really slides, or the hardware's obsolete, 25% of the shortfall is not a rescue. But yes, it's material. It lowers financing friction now.
Speaking of big builds, Fortune says Elon Musk's planned Terafab facility in Texas is expected to cost over $16.8 billion, employ around 3,000 people, and occupy roughly 100 million square feet. The claim is it could become the largest building on Earth, and it's framed as a vertically integrated chip facility.
All expected and could. Not operating, not producing chips, planned. If it lands, it's historic in scale. Until then, it's a number and a rendering. Hold the confetti.
Meanwhile, in connectivity, a follow-up to last week's coverage of Starlink Mobile, Business Insider reports an industry analyst is skeptical about profitability for an urban US rollout by 2027. The logic: dense city environments block signals, the ground infrastructure could be costly.
Right, so the new part is the profitability skepticism, not the service itself. SpaceX announced the ambitions, an analyst now says the unit economics in cities might not pencil out. That's analysis, not outcome, but it's a useful counterweight to the hype.
Phones and wearables, with a heavy rumor filter on. A supply chain source said Apple will limit the initial rollout of its upcoming iPhone Ultra, a foldable, to the United States. The reasons cited: component, testing, and pricing challenges. The plan, reportedly, is to expand later once supply constraints ease.
It's interesting if true. Confining a flagship foldable to one market first because yields, carrier testing, and price sensitivity are messy. But we should stress, this isn't an Apple announcement. It's a supply chain report.
Exactly. And in the same rumor lane, Gizmodo says Apple is evaluating new Apple Watch form factors, including screenless models and round displays. Earlier reports also suggested new designs. Evaluating is not shipping. It's brainstorming with CAD files.
On the Android side, a follow-up. We covered Google's August 12, 2026 event last week. The Pixel 11 lineup, Pixel Watch 5, and Gemini updates. The new wrinkle now is high-resolution images from 9 to 5 Google showing the Pixel 11 Pro Fold in a green color. The date, devices, and broad strokes haven't changed. The imagery got sharper.
So, for listeners keeping score, 2 Apple stories squarely in rumor and concept territory. One Google event on the calendar for 2026 with new leaked images this week. None of those are in your pocket yet.
Networks and security in the real world. Verizon restored voice service on August 8th for wireless customers across the eastern US and parts of the Midwest after a several-hour outage. They said it wrapped shortly after 6 p.m. Eastern.
That's one of those quiet dependencies. When voice goes, you notice fast. The company had earlier confirmed it as a nationwide outage. They fixed it the same day.
On a Delta flight from Las Vegas to Atlanta, the airline temporarily disabled in-flight Wi-Fi after detecting a non-official network. They said they'll work with federal authorities on the investigation.
A counterfeit hotspot at 35,000 feet is a good reminder. Device names and SSIDs are free to spoof. If your phone eagerly connects to free-airline-Wi-Fi, you might be walking into a trap. The crew killing Wi-Fi was the blunt, probably safe call.
And on the policing tech front, Flock Safety said it's capping license plate video retention at 7 days and requiring police customers to use anti-abuse tools, including its new evidence mode and a standardized audit assistance framework. This was in Washington, D.C.
Shorter retention, mandatory controls. That's movement. Whether 7 days is the right balance will be debated, but require is stronger than recommend. The real test comes when agencies have to live with audit trails and evidence modes every day.
Space infrastructure decisions. The European Union approved launching another 66 IRIS² satellites from 2029, bringing the constellation to 348 for secure, redundant communications across civilian and defense users. Earlier, the Commission approved a €15.6 billion program to add those low Earth orbit satellites.
That's a policy green light now, service later. The dates matter. 2029 is not tomorrow. But the direction is clear. Build redundancy into Europe's comm stack with a sizable LEO layer.
In the US, the FCC approved a prototype from Reflect Orbital, essentially a satellite that reflects sunlight back to Earth, despite objections from environmental groups and scientists.
Which means the test is authorized. It doesn't resolve the concerns. Objections from organizations like dark sky advocates and bird groups aren't trivial. A prototype flight will give data. Then the real debate starts.
And if you're on the West Coast, tonight's Starlink launch from Florida could create a rare space jellyfish in California's twilight sky. Sunlight reflecting off the exhaust plume to make that luminous jellyfish-shaped display.
Pure optics, literally. Pretty sky, not an alien. If you miss it, there will be photos all over your feed by morning.
science and missions, with a few follow-ups. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory successfully ran a power-saving maneuver on Voyager 2 to extend instrument life, and they're planning to repeat it on Voyager 1.
That's shipped and successful. One of the oldest pieces of active tech we still talk to, eking out more life with careful power choreography.
South Korea's Danuri spacecraft captured images of the fresh crater and a darkened patch left by a SpaceX Falcon 9 upper stage impact on the moon. Mission officials said they'll keep observing. We covered the impact last week. Now we have pictures of the aftermath.
Useful scientific data and a reality check on orbital debris disposal. When a 4-ton second stage hits at around 5,400 miles per hour, it leaves a mark. Seeing the site matters.
And Catalyst Space says it prepared a flight software update to restore full attitude control on the Lynx spacecraft. The spin rate has slowed, and they're positioning for a planned rendezvous with NASA's Swift Observatory. That's a follow-up too. Progress after a hiccup. Prepared and planned are the key verbs. It's a recovery in progress, not a finish line. But slowing the spin and loading new software is forward motion.
A quick engineering unpack, because a lot of this rides on how things actually work. The Anthropic watermark is machine-readable, embedded in text. That suggests a signal you can detect statistically or via a decoder. It's not a visible tag or a human-readable footer. And, as they admitted, light human edits might not fully remove it.
Which is why it's more about responsible provenance than courtroom proof. It can help platforms label or triage content. It's not an oracle.
On passkeys and windows, the point isn't to terrify people away from passkeys. It's that once malware has a seat on your machine, the OS's way of storing and brokering those credentials is decisive. SpectreOps and Unit 42 showed a path on Windows. That informs patching priorities and hardening.
Same lens on Nvidia's guarantee. It's risk engineering. You have a fleet of GPUs as collateral. Lenders worry about future value. Nvidia says if resale falls short, we'll cover up to a quarter of that gap. That moves spreadsheets from no to maybe yes, and maybe is enough to break ground on data centers.
And the FCC's Reflect Orbital decision, a prototype authorization is the scientific method applied to policy. Fly one, measure reflectivity and ecological effects, then argue with data instead of only hypotheticals.
Which won't stop the arguing, but it makes it useful arguing. A few more business and safety notes. Verizon's outage and Delta's in-flight spoofing incident are reminders that basic connectivity, voice calls, and Wi-Fi still fail in unglamorous ways, and the right response is fast, conservative triage. Kill the hotspot, fix the network, communicate.
On policing tech, a 7-day retention window and required anti-abuse tooling push agencies to be more disciplined. Evidence mode and audit frameworks aren't just UI. They change who can see what and when. That's culture as much as code.
The Apple foldable rumor, the round or even screenless watch concepts, cool to imagine, but we're deep in evaluating, and supply chain source said. Treat it as signal that teams are exploring options, not foreshadowing a box you can buy next month.
And the Google event we've already flagged for 2026, the new high-res images of a green Pixel 11 Pro Fold don't change the fundamentals. They just make the leaks prettier. We'll keep this in follow-up mode until something ships.
In orbit, the EU's Iris-squared expansion and that possible space jellyfish tonight both underscore the same thing. Space is infrastructure and spectacle at once. Some of it takes years to arrive, some of it lights up your evening commute.
Nicely put. And while we're on human stories intersecting with tech, one quick sports note. San Francisco 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan was cleared to coach a preseason game after recovering from a mid-July crash that left him with significant injuries. The report mentions autopilot. Beyond that, no sermon. Just glad he's okay enough to work.
So what actually changed this week? A major AI lab embedded watermarks by default? An open source giant shipped new models. A chip titan put a partial floor under used GPU values to unlock hundreds of billions in data center financing. A city-scale camera network vendor tightened retention and audits. Regulators greenlit a satellite test that could literally change the night sky. And Europe doubled down on sovereign comms.
And the rumor mill kept spinning, as it does. If you take one thing away, it's this. Compliance and capital are steering where the tech goes next. Watermarks for regulators, guarantees for lenders. The rest is execution.
If you want this kind of checked, calm roundup every day in your pocket, head to factslane.com or grab the Factslane app on the App Store or Google Play.
And if you like a broader sweep, try our other weekly shows, Good Week for the world at large and Science Week for the curious. They pair nicely with your coffee.
That's it for us. Thanks for hanging out with us this week.
Take care, and we'll see you next week.